Settling into your seat, feeling stable, feet on the floor, sit bones on the chair, crown of the head reaching up, finding a nice tall spine, and allowing yourself the time to settle in, letting the hands rest wherever they feel comfortable. Maybe finding a sense that the elbows feel a little bit heavy, the shoulders can melt down any amount. Working out any fidgets as we start to settle in and find a little bit of stillness as we begin the practice. Letting your breath slow down slightly if that feels okay, maybe deepening a little bit. Maybe noticing if you're carrying any tension in the forehead or jaw and allowing those areas to soften any amount. Maybe creating a little more space between the shoulders and ears, allowing the shoulders to melt down. Keeping the neck nice and long, back of the neck especially is quite spacious. Would it feel okay if you're carrying any tension in the belly to soften the belly, allowing for some expansion as you breathe? Maybe noticing how your body moves as you breathe. Noticing the gentle expansion and contraction with every breath. Just a few more breaths, noticing how your body feels as you breathe. Just being here in this moment. Maybe noticing the sensation of your feet on the floor or the sensations in your hands wherever they're resting. Maybe the sensation of your breath as it enters your body and exits. As you're ready, let's start to move into the head and neck a little bit. We'll start just by tipping the chin down towards the chest. We'll pause here, continuing to breathe with the chin tipped down and imagining that we could inhale and create space along the back of the neck. Taking a couple of breaths in this position, if it feels okay to stay here. When you're ready, coming back through center with the head facing forward and just noticing any sensations in the neck from that first gentle tip with the chin down. And then let's lift the chin up with your next inhale gently. We're not cranking all the way back, maybe about 60% of the lift that you're capable of. And breathing here, almost as though we were stretching a little bit into the front of the throat. Continuing to breathe. And then bringing the head back so that you're facing forward once more, noticing sensation again. And then we'll move in both those directions with breath. When your next exhale arrives, tipping the chin down towards chest. When your inhale arrives, tipping the chin back up, moving with breath. Exhaling to tip the chin down once more. Inhaling to lift. About 2 more cycles of breath following your own. And making your way back through center, pausing with the head forward. to notice sensations. As you're ready, no rush to get here. Slowing down to notice what's happening in the body this morning. Let's turn the head from side to side, inhaling forward. Exhaling to one side, the direction of your choice. When your next inhale arrives, we'll come back to center. Exhaling to the other side, moving so slowly, following your breath. Inhaling to center, exhaling to one side. When you feel you've done both sides evenly, making your way back to center, no rush. Noticing sensations as you arrive. Let's move down into the shoulders a little bit. We'll start with some simple shoulder rolls, squeezing the shoulders up towards ears, then back and down. Coming forward again, rolling up, back and down. A few times. And let's switch directions, moving the forwards back, up, forward and down. Going in the opposite direction from the way we started. And when you've had enough, allowing the shoulders to melt down once more, resting the hands again in a comfortable position on your lap. And giving yourself that moment or few moments to notice sensations in the shoulders. Let's do our big arm sweeps this morning. So when you put your right hand down beside you, if the chair is in the way, you might shift a little bit over to the right just so you have a little more space. So with the right arm down by your side, we'll inhale to sweep the arm forward and up. Exhaling back and down. So this could be quite close to your body or it could be further away from your body, depending on your range of motion today and how your shoulder feels. Just exploring what feels right in your body. I'll do about 2 more on this side. Moving with breath, inhaling to lift, exhaling to lower. And let's release the right hand back to the lap. Pause for a moment, noticing any difference in sensation from right shoulder to left. And let's come back to the back to the right arm, and we'll go in the opposite direction, about 3 wide circles. But this time we'll start by sending the arm back and up, coming forward and down on the exhale. Back and up, inhale. Forward and down. One more big sweep. Inhaling back. Exhaling forward. Releasing the hand to your lap. Pausing for a moment. No rush. And then we'll switch. If you shifted over to the right side of your chair, shifting over to the left so that your left arm has the equal opportunity. And often shoulders are quite different. So no judging yourself on the range of motion on the left side if it's any different from the right. They tend to be a little different. Starting with the left hand down by your side. We'll inhale forward and up. Exhaling back and down. Forward and up, inhale. Exhaling back and down, moving with your breath. Last one. As you're ready, releasing your hand to your lap. Noticing sensations in the shoulders. And then we'll move back to the left hand and we'll move in the opposite direction. So this time when we sweep the arm, we'll go back and up. and then forward and down. Inhaling back and up. Exhaling forward and down. I find one side always feels more awkward, and backwards is more awkward on both sides, for me anyway. When you've done about 3, releasing your hand back to your lap. Maybe shifting back towards center. Noticing how the shoulders and arms feel as you're ready. Well, let's stay with the arms for a little bit. Let's bring palms facing up, but the elbows tucked in beside you. So forearms are kind of tucked into your torso. Palms up, forearms are parallel to the floor. Breathing here for a moment. And then we'll start to move with breath. Inhaling to open the hands out to the side, almost as though we were holding serving trays. And then exhaling back to center. The hands can cross when they arrive in the middle. Inhaling to open. Exhaling to cross. Inhaling to open. Moving with your breath. Exhale. You can switch which hand is on top as you cross in the middle each time, if you think of it. Keep ourselves even. We'll do about 2 more. Then release hands to lap once more, noticing sensation in the upper arms and shoulders or wherever else you might feel that movement. Okay, this time, let's bring the forearms parallel again, but this time palms facing down and pulling the elbows back behind us a little bit, almost as though we're making a W shape. So with forearms parallel, this time when we inhale, we'll pull the elbows back a little further. Exhaling to bring the elbows forward. Almost so they're in line or a little bit forward of the torso. Inhaling to stretch back or reach back with elbows. Exhaling to come forward. Inhaling to reach back. Exhaling to come forward. Let's pause here in kind of a neutral position. And we're going to add on. I won't combine the movements just yet. We'll switch it up a little bit. From hands facing the floor. Next time you inhale, we'll tip the hands up, coming into almost goalpost arms. Then exhaling down. We'll do that twice more. Inhaling to reach up. Exhaling to come back down. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. Let's release the hands for a moment, noticing sensations in the shoulders and upper arms. We'll give them a bit of a rest before we combine everything. Okay, let's set up again. Palms facing the floor, forearms parallel. Inhale to reach the elbows back behind you. Exhaling to draw the hands a bit forward again. Inhaling to tip the palms up. Exhaling to bring them parallel. Inhaling to draw elbows back. Exhaling to bring them forward. Inhaling to tip fingertips up. Exhaling forward, back to parallel. One more. Moving with your breath. Inhaling to draw elbows back. Exhaling to bring the elbows forward. Inhaling fingertips. Exhaling back to parallel. Releasing the hands. That was a lot of shoulder work and upper arm work. We're mostly done for now. We might bring some of those movements into another movement when we get to some standing poses or seated warriors. But let's continue moving down into the spine. Let's take a gentle twist. For our twist today, let's bring the back of the left hand behind you if that feels okay in your shoulder. I need to move forward a little bit. You might as well, just to create some space behind you. So the back of your hand might come to your low back, your bum, your sacrum, anywhere a little bit behind you. With that same idea of kind of reaching the elbow gently back, we're not trying to create any strain. And let's bring the right hand to the right shoulder or upper chest. Inhaling nice and tall. As you exhale, turning the shoulders towards the left. You can almost feel as though your right hand is helping to push you back or to twist the left side of your body. The gaze can be in line with your torso, or maybe you're looking over to the left as well. Breathing for about 2 more cycles of breath if it feels okay to stay here. And as you're ready with an inhale, let's unwind, coming back to center. Releasing both hands back to the lap for a moment and noticing how the body feels. Noticing sensations. And we'll set up on the other side. This time the right hand will come behind. The back of the hand or back of the fingertips might reach the bum or sacrum or somewhere on the low back. The left hand will come either to the upper chest or maybe to the right shoulder. There's a gentle pulling of the right elbow back a little bit. Nothing too severe, nothing that will cause strain. Inhaling nice and tall. As you exhale, turning to the right, any amount, almost as though your left hand is pushing your right shoulder back, helping you twist. Gaze can be in line with the torso, or you might look over your right shoulder or towards the right to any degree. We'll stay for another full breath cycle if it feels okay to stay. And as you're ready, unwinding, coming back through center, releasing the hands. We've done a lot of arm work, and I had planned to bring hands to the back of the head. So if your shoulders and arms have had enough for now, the option will be to bring hands to hips, and we'll move into a side bend. So the options will be hands on hips or fingertips behind the head with the thumbs facing down. So either of these variations, whichever one feels good in your body. Don't look at what everybody else is doing. What feels good in your body? Inhaling nice and tall. As we exhale, we'll tip over to one side. Inhaling back to center. Exhaling to the other side as you're ready with your breath. Back to center with an inhale. I'm going to do the other variation, exhaling to the other side. Inhaling to center. Exhaling. Inhaling. Releasing the hands wherever they are. And we'll move into our arching and rounding of the spine. So again, we'll have arm variations. First option would be for hands to be on the knees or thighs. With an exhale, we would push the thighs away, rounding the back, almost as though you could spread your shoulder blades further apart. And with an inhale, drawing the chest forward through the upper arms. That's one variation. The other variation would be bringing hands to the upper, to behind your head again, thumbs facing down. As with an inhale, we would draw the chest forward, elbows would reach back. And as you exhale, elbows would draw in as though they could come into your belly. So whichever of those variations speaks to you, we'll move through that about 3 full times, 3 cycles of breath. So the variation of your choice, hands to knees or thighs or hands behind your head, moving with your breath. Inhaling to draw the chest forward, arching the back, lifting the gaze. And exhaling to round the spine. I'm flitting through both variations. When you've moved through your breath cycle about 3 times, arching and rounding the back, our cat-cow variation, slowly making your way back to a neutral spine, letting the hands rest down again. We'll move down into the legs as you're ready. Let's start by lifting the right leg, maybe holding underneath the thigh or around the shin, maybe holding the knee. And we'll draw circles. We'll start with our circles. Circles can be quite small to start. Maybe they gradually get bigger, exploring the motion that we have in our leg today in our hip. Switching directions as you're ready. And coming back to somewhere that feels like neutral almost, the legs still lifted. Let's find some ankle circles. First in one direction, and then in the other. Let's point and flex the foot a few times, pointing the toes and then drawing them towards the shin. And then releasing right leg, right foot down to the floor. Giving yourself that in between, noticing sensations, any differences in sensation from right hip to left, right leg to left, ankles and feet. And then let's move over to left leg. Lifting the left leg either behind the thigh, around the shin, around the knee. We'll start with the circles, moving the thigh in the hip socket. Maybe gradually letting the circles get a bit bigger. Switching directions as you're ready. Then coming back to your starting point, maybe continuing to hold the thigh or switching positions if that would feel good. Let's draw ankle circles. A few in one direction and then switching. Let's point and flex the foot a few times. And then release left foot down to the floor. Finding that tall and neutral spine again. Noticing sensations. Feeling any differences now between left foot and right, left knee, left thigh, left hip. Let's move through a few sun salutations. So setting yourself up so that you have the space that you need. If it would feel good to have knees a bit wider, that might feel good for the forward fold to allow space for your torso. Or if it feels better to bring a little bit of compression between belly and thighs, that can sometimes feel nice as well. So depending on what feels good in your body this morning. I'll leave mine more narrow today. We'll do 3 sun salutations so you can change the variation as we move through. Finding your tall seat, sit bones firmly down in the chair, feet firmly rooted wherever they are, wide or narrow. As you're ready, let's sweep arms up and overhead. Exhaling to bring hands back down to thighs. Finding your version of the arched back, chest comes through, gaze lifts. Exhaling to round the spine like a Halloween cat, belly towards the back of the chair. Inhaling back to a tall and neutral spine. Exhaling to fold forward. Maybe that means that your forearms come to your thighs, or maybe hands creep down your shins, or hands might come to the floor. Let the head drop as you arrive, letting the head be a bit heavy. When your next inhale arrives, let's sweep right arm up into a twist. Exhaling the right hand back down. Inhale, left arm sweeping up into a twist. Exhale, left arm down. Inhale, both arms sweep up into reaching up and overhead if it feels okay, coming back to a neutral spine. Exhaling, hands to thighs. Pausing to breathe between this sun salutation and the next. Deciding if there's anything you'd like to adjust, if your feet would like a different position. Maybe you'll try a different arm position this time, sweeping arms wide instead of up. Noticing what will work in your body this morning. And we'll move through again as you're ready. Sweeping arms wide or up and overhead. Exhaling, hands back to thighs. Inhaling to arch the back, chest comes through the upper arms. Belly comes forward, gaze lifts. Exhaling to round the spine, belly towards the back of the chair, Halloween cat shape. Inhaling, tall and neutral spine again, crown of the head lifts. Exhaling to fold forward, your version. Letting the head be heavy as you arrive. Breathing about 3 cycles of breath here in the forward fold. When your next inhale arrives, we'll sweep right arm up and overhead, coming into a twist. Exhaling, right arm back down. Left arm sweeps up into a twist with an inhale. Exhaling, left arm back down. Inhaling, both arms sweep wide or up and overhead, coming back to a tall seat. Exhaling, hands to thighs. Taking an in-between breath again. Adjusting anything that feels like it could use some adjusting. Last one, when you're ready, sweeping arms wide or up and overhead. Exhaling, hands to thighs. Inhaling to arch the back, chest comes through the upper arms, gaze lifts. Exhaling to round the spine like a Halloween cat. Inhaling back to a tall and neutral spine. Exhaling to fold forward, your version. Inhale, right arm sweeps up into a twist. Exhale, right arm down. Inhale, left arm sweeps up into a twist. Exhale, left arm down. Inhale, both arms sweep wide or up and overhead, bringing us back to a tall seat. Exhaling, hands to thighs as you're ready. Noticing any flow of energy, any sensations in the neck, the shoulders. Let's do a seated variation of warrior before we move to standing. So let's turn to face the left side of the chair. Then we're going to walk the right leg back. So you might be holding the backrest of the chair, and we're tiptoeing the right leg back any amount. We're looking to find a little bit of stretch along the front of the right hip. So if you find that and the knee is still quite bent, that's okay. If you need a little more backwards movement, then you can stretch the foot out as far as feels good. We don't want to cause any strain in the front of the hip at all. So finding your position, where does it feel okay? And then we're settling in. Find a position that doesn't take too much effort to stay, because we're going to hold this for a few minutes. So if it would feel better to come to bend the knee a little more, bringing the foot a little closer, you can decide, and you know that you can adjust through the pose as well. As we stay here, know that you can adjust. So left hand is holding the backrest of the chair. Let's sweep the right arm up and overhead. Breathing here for a moment, noticing how this feels. And then let's breathe with movement in the arm. As you exhale, we'll sweep the arm forward and down, almost reaching back behind you. Then inhale to sweep the arm up again. We'll do it twice more, exhaling to sweep down and back. Inhaling to sweep up. Last one, exhaling to sweep down and back. Inhaling to sweep up. Let's release the hand back down to the lap. Let's release the hold of the back leg, bringing it forward again. Moving through center. Just pausing in center, let's notice sensation before we move over to the other side. Giving yourself that in between. And then we'll shift to face the right side of the chair. This time the right arm will hold the backrest of the chair, and it's the left foot that we're scooting back a little bit. Finding a bit of stretch along the front edge of the left hip. So wherever that means your leg is. Each of our bodies might be different. So maybe the knee is still quite bent. Maybe you're really stretching into the back leg, deciding what feels right in your body today. Finding your position, knowing that you can adjust as we go along. And as you're ready, let's sweep left arm up and overhead. Pausing here to breathe. And then we'll find that same movement with breath. With your next exhale, sweeping the hand down and back. Almost as though you were reaching for the back foot. And inhaling up. Twice more, moving with your breath. Exhaling down and back. Inhaling to sweep up. Last one. Eventually releasing the hand, releasing the leg. Coming back to a tall and neutral spine. We'll shift the knees forward once more. So with one knee forward and bent and the other leg stretching back, that's a variation of Warrior One. And the reason we were reaching one arm back almost as though we could reach for the hand is because there's a balance pose called Dancer's Pose that uses those shapes, which we will play with as we come to standing. So come on up to standing any way that feels good. I'm finally getting warm enough that maybe I'll ditch the sweatshirt. So facing the backrest of your chair. And let's step the right foot back, coming up onto the back toes, and we'll find a gentle bend in the left leg. So this can be our version of Warrior One, standing now. The back knee could have a little bit of a bend in it, or maybe it would feel good to have a bit of a wider stance. So playing with this idea. It's a little harder sometimes to find the stretch in the front of the hip in the standing pose because we tend to crunch into the low back a little bit, which is where the bent knee, the back bent knee can help a little bit. So allowing yourself a little bit of time to play. And then when you find something that feels like it might work, let's reach right arm up and overhead. If it feels okay, if you're stable enough with the left hand holding the chair. And then again, we'll play with the breath, with your exhale, sweeping the hand down and back. Inhaling to sweep it back up. Exhaling to sweep down and back. If this is getting to be too much shoulder work, you can always pause, either bringing the hand only forward or even leaving it on the chair or pausing with the hand reaching back instead. Last one, if you're moving with me, inhaling to sweep up, exhaling to reach back. Then bringing the hand back to the chair. Let's step forward, coming back to stand at the chair. Give yourself a little bit of space between the backrest of the chair and your feet, so we're not too close. And we'll play with balance on this side since we're stretched out and warmed up on this side. Letting the left foot be your stable foot. We're going to start to lift the right foot. If this is an option, maybe we're just sending the right toes back and the top of the foot comes on the floor a little bit. Maybe the right toe lifts and the knee is bent. If you know that you can bring your knee forward and find your ankle, that's an option. This might be a crazy option and it's certainly not obligatory. You can hold your ankle behind you. For the rest of us, the knee can be lifted. Your toes can either be on the floor or lifted. The left hand will stay stable on the backrest of the chair, and the right arm will reach as though it could grab your toes or your ankle. Beautiful. Maybe it would feel okay to tip forward a little bit. Remembering to breathe. One more breath if it feels okay to stay. Then let's release, releasing the foot, releasing the arms, maybe finding a little wiggling. All right, other side. I will turn the other way just so that you have a good view, but you can stay exactly as you are. This time the right foot is our front foot. We'll step the left foot back any amount. Finding our warrior one on this side. So coming up onto the back toes, a little bit of a bend in the front leg. Maybe a bit of bend in the back leg if you're finding there's any crunching in the low back. And let's bring the left arm into the mix, maybe reaching left arm up and overhead. Right hand can be your stability, holding onto the back of the chair. And we'll move with breath. As you're ready, exhaling to sweep the hand forward and down, reaching back as though you could reach towards your back foot. Then inhaling to sweep up. Twice more if it feels okay on the shoulder. Moving with your breath. And releasing the hand to the back of the chair. Let's step forward. And we'll find our variation of dancer pose on this side. So creating a little space between you and the chair so that you have the space to tip forward if you want to. So it doesn't feel too awkward. If I'm too close, it doesn't work well. This time the right foot is our stable foot. Left foot starts to get light. Knee bends a little bit and maybe just the tops of the toes come behind you onto the floor. Maybe the toes lift and the knee is bent. Maybe the knee sweeps back behind you a little bit. Again, if you know that you can reach your ankle, if your knee comes forward, you could hold your ankle and sweep the knee back behind you. If that's crazy talk, then we'll leave the knee bent. Foot reaching back behind you. And let's bring the left arm and hand into the mix. Right hand is stable, holding your chair. Let's sweep left arm back as though it could reach the foot. So back foot is reaching towards hand, hand is reaching towards foot. Maybe it would feel okay to tip forward any amount. Remembering to breathe. We'll stay for about 2 more breaths if it feels okay to stay. Look at us, our graceful dancers all around. Then releasing everything, bringing the foot back to the mat, releasing the arms, finding any wiggling that would feel good. Let's take one chair down dog before we move back to seated. Letting the hands rest on the backrest of the chair, walking the feet back. Feet can be wide, knees can be bent. Moving or imagining that the tailbone is reaching in one direction, crown of the head in the other, length in the spine. Breathing here for a few breaths, knowing you can come out whenever you'd like. Might feel good to sway from one leg to the other a little bit. As you're ready, walking back towards the chair, coming back to standing. Pausing as you arrive in standing. Maybe doing a quick scan of your body, noticing any sensations that are popping up. Then we'll move back to seated as you're ready. As we close practice, if you have a backrest on your chair, it might feel good to lean back, letting go of all effort. It might feel good to walk the feet a little bit forward, letting the shoulders settle back, letting the hands rest down. Finding maybe a gentle tuck of the chin, nothing too deep, but just keeping the back of the neck nice and long. And then bring your awareness back to your breathing. Sometimes it can feel good to have hands on belly or one hand on chest and one hand on belly. Just getting some tactile feedback as to how your body feels when it breathes. Noticing how your hands interpret the movement. Really letting your awareness rest on your breath. Letting the breath resume its natural rhythm. Not trying to control or coordinate anything to go with breath, just watching the breath, letting it happen as it does naturally. And as we start to close practice, hands can stay where they are. They could be on your lap. If it's in your practice, you could bring hands to prayer position or Anjali Mudra, or even hands over heart sometimes feels nice. Starting by sending yourself gratitude for making the time to practice, for coming to class, to move and breathe in community, honoring your own body and breath. With gratitude to each and every one of you for making the time to practice with me and allowing me to guide this class. And with gratitude to all the students and teachers who have come before us, passing down this practice. Peace. I'll stop the recording.